When I first learned this strategy, it absolutely blew my mind that we can actually turn our portfolios into rental properties and collect rental income on a weekly and monthly basis. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Yo, what's going on, Premium Chasers? I hope you're having a God-blessed day. Today, every single person that comments down below is going to get the 5 best quad option strategy stocks that are all under 20 bucks. So if you want that playbook, just drop a comment down below and I'll personally respond to you with the link. And while you're down there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, because we're dropping the heat today, guys. What I'm going to be showing you guys is a strategy that I learned about 7 years ago that completely blew my mind, all right? This is called a covered call, and it is a way that you're able to actually rent out your stocks on a weekly or monthly basis. We'll talk about which setups and which ways to kind of do that are best, at least that I found from my time doing this. So let's go over the shoulder right now. So for this example today, guys, what we're going to be using is Robinhood, okay? Now we're going to do some basic technical analysis, guys. I keep everything on this channel real simple, all right? You don't need a paid course. You don't need anything. Everything's free in our Facebook group here. Links in the description. Listen, but you got to understand some stuff first, all right? So there's some stuff that we're going to dive into that may seem a little intimidating at first, but I promise it's going to come full circle, all right? So let me show you guys kind of like the stuff that's cool that you want to see, right? And then we're going to dive into when and how and all that other kind of stuff, all right? So I'm going to assume, right, that you have 100 shares of a stock, right? In this example, we're just using Robinhood. What you can actually do is go to your options chain. Listen, some of you guys come to me and you're like, Pete, you know, my brokerage looks different. Like, and you guys come to me with all of your different brokerage. It doesn't matter. It's the same exact kind of setup. You just have to figure out what it is for your brokerage, all right? What you're going to do is click sell a call. You got to find that section, all right? Go find it for yourself, right? Then what you're doing is setting an expiration date. What I'm saying here, I'm just putting 35 days. What I'm saying here is I'm willing to sell 100 shares of a stock, in this one, Robinhood, right, for X price. I get to name my price and I get paid a premium income from an options buyer when I open the contract up front. You'll see that here in a moment. So let's assume that your cost basis, your average price for your 100 shares, I'll just say is $49, right? The market value right now, $49 is what you own Robinhood. And you know what? You're saying to yourself, you know what? If in 35 days, Robinhood hits $55, I'm totally okay selling those shares. I want to lock in the gains. I'm not just a silly paper gains person, right? I want to lock in real money, right? So what we could do here is we can say, hey, you know what? We're willing to sell our shares for $55, right? Now, for that, you would collect $220, $219 of premium. This is actual money. Like, yes, this is actual money that's coming from an options buyer, right? You've probably done options buying. We all have. Listen, we all guilty. We all been guilty. I talked to a lot of you guys, and a lot of us have all started with options buying, thinking it's the magic bullet, and it is nothing but a waste of money. Well, guess where your money has been going, fam? Your money has been going to option sellers, which you are now becoming. And I'm so proud of you, right, for clicking this video and learning this strategy, right? So now we're collecting that money. That options buyer, that gambler, that degenerate, right? They're giving us $220. I'm going to toss this into my covered call calculator, right? I'm going to put 220 here. All my calculators are free inside of our Facebook group. They're all free. Go. The link is in the description. Vibe out, network. It's a real fun time in that group. You can ask your questions in there too, right? So we're collecting $220. Our strike of the option, the price we're willing to sell our 100 shares for, is $55, right? So I'm going to put 55 here. Our purchase strike price is what did we buy our 100 shares at, right? We bought them for $49. We'll just say current market value. So our premium return on this trade is 4.49%. What does that mean? Well, it's just 49 times 100 and dividing it by the premium gives us about a 4.5% return in a month. If we end up selling our shares, if Robinhood does actually hit $55, we will collect an additional $600 of appreciation on that for a total profit, right? Profit of $600 plus the premium is $820, or a total percentage return of 16.73 on the trade. Let's go full circle here, because the thing about option selling, guys, is we're not going for moonshots, all right? We're not going for moonshots. This is a more, I like to see as a more conservative trading strategy, because we don't trade a lot. We're not standing in front of screens and stuff, right? So like, let's say, for example, you open up this trade, right? You basically have 35 days. Like, you open this up and then like, go live your life, right? Like, that's it. Like, you just simply go live your life and do whatever it is that you want to do, right? So with this, you're essentially open up this trade and you wait 35 days. Let's say 35 days rolls around, right? Well, 55, if it hits $55, right, you're selling your shares at that. Even if Robinhood hits $60, you're going to be selling your shares at $55. Now, if it stays below $55, right, that means that your shares, right, will be returned back to you. Your options contract essentially expires worthless, and you can run the play again the following month to collect some more premium. All right. So more times than not, usually, and I'll go get into that all in a second, your contracts will expire worthless, meaning your shares will be returned back to you, and then you can collect another rental check, all right, the following month when you run the covered call again. Okay. But how do we know when to do this? How do we know the stock price that we choose, right? So let's kind of go into all of that right now. So first and foremost, I kind of have a very methodical approach to these things. First thing I do, usually when I wake up in the mornings, I go look at my watch list. I look at any big moves happening, right? The second thing I do when I've identified some stocks that are having some big movement is I start going and looking at the technicals. Okay. So very, very basic technical indicators. Guys, I say many times, and some of you will be like, no, Pete, you're a smart guy. You are a smart guy. Like, no, I'm telling you, I'm not a smart guy. I just know I hone in on stuff I really want to learn about, and I don't really like be distracted by shiny objects. Like that's the key, like in this strategy, right? And so like it's not difficult. You'll get this down. You just got to do it for a year. I always say do it for a year, and you'll become a beast at it. Because again, we're not trading that much. You're trading like 2-3 times a month, right? Especially if you're a beginner. So I'm just here on Yahoo Finance. Go to the stock. Obviously for Hood, we're just going Hood. And then I'm going to click chart. All right, I'm going to put an indicator on here called Bollinger Bands, right? This is kind of, I would say, the most important one, right? If I could only pick one indicator to trade with for selling options, it would be the Bollinger Bands. Everything else is important, but this one is probably the most important. So we're just going to cover this one, right? So we're going to put period 30. That's going to make our middle line here, our 30-day moving average. Cool. So now it adds this extremely intimidating overlay onto our chart here. Don't be intimidated by this. Basically, this middle line right here that you're seeing that says 43.50, that's our 30-day moving average of the stock, right? Towards the top of the Bollinger Band, when the stock is trading up towards there, it usually means the stock is being overbought, right? So meaning a lot of people are pouring into it, right? And they're buying it up. So you could see people are buying it up today, up 7% today for Robinhood. So obviously it's going to be trending towards that top Bollinger Band. Now, when the world's coming to an end and everybody's freaking out like we did at the beginning of the month, you could see Robinhood was trading at 34, right? It's at the bottom Bollinger Band. Now, for the most part, when we look at the Bollinger Bands over time, it's obviously all Fugazi, all technical is BS, but it helps us build a theory and a reason why we do certain things. You could see we usually hit top of the Bollinger Bands, and then we retract back down. We hit the top or middle, we retract back down. We usually stay in this range. Now, sometimes we plummet way below or way above, right? Those things totally can happen, right? So right here, when we're looking at this, right, I'm looking when I am selling or renting my shares out and collecting premium, I usually want to do that when the share is towards the top of the Bollinger Band. Why, might you ask? Well, the reason I would want to do that is because people are pouring into it. There's a lot of positive sentiment, good earnings, maybe some news story broke, whatever it might be. That's usually the best time to sell the covered call, right? Because, right, for the most part, when we look at a chart, it hits the top of the Bollinger Band and retracts. Not only that, right, but we are also able to get better strike prices. So for example, because Robinhood is up at close to $50 today, right, if we looked at these $50 calls, let's say you wanted to sell for 55 and you did this earlier in the month, right, like here when it was at 34, that 55 call right here that you would have done would have probably not even given you any money. It would have probably been like 5 cents, right? It wouldn't have been good. So when you wait and you're patient, right, as option sellers, we are paid to be patient, not overtrade. We are not paid to overtrade. We are paid to be patient. When you're patient, you look at the setups, let them come to you, and you open up your positions at those moments, at those times, or as best as you can. That's when you can maximize premiums and maximize your potential appreciation sale because you're getting a higher strike price. Again, because Robinhood is up at $50 today almost, we're able to look at the 55 puts and collect almost 4.5% in a month on our collateral, right? In my opinion, that's a fantastic setup, okay? So after I find that, hey, a good setup has formed, I then go over to the actual options chain. From here, this is where you can decide, one, do you actually want to sell your shares? If you're like, know what, I really do. I think this run up is kind of crazy. I'll go and you could go and do like a 50 or a 51. You can. The closer you are to the share price, the more likely you are to be assigned, and meaning your shares are going to be sold. So that's a decision you need to make for yourself, right? Now, obviously, the further up you go, the less premium you're going to collect. Like, for example, if I go all the way up to these, let's just do like 60s, right? 60s, right? You see, I'm only collecting $95 on the 60 because, again, it's less likely to happen, right? And the delta here is a 0.20, which means about, right? Not technical definitions, but for option sellers, this is how we do it, right? There's a 20% chance of assignment, meaning 20% chance your shares will actually end up being sold, but about an 80% chance that nothing actually happens and your options contract will expire worthless, right? So these are decisions you need to make for yourself, right? It actually just went up to $100. That's $60. You want to find a mixture of it. And that's why I recommend get a calculator for yourself and see what makes sense for you. What I'll often do, guys, is I'll like grab this, right? And I'll be like, okay, and I'll look at my different options. And I'm very simple with this, guys. Like, I'm not that crazy with this, right? So like I'm looking at the 60s and I'm comparing to the 55s. And I want to see what makes sense for me. All right, I'm going to calculate $100 on this one, right? $100, right? My strike price is going to be 60. My purchase strike price is 49. Obviously, my total return, if my shares get called away, I'm going to get a lot more, almost 10% more. So this is, and I still get a 2% premium return. So this is where you need to figure out what kind of portfolio you want to build for yourself, right? For me, look, when I want to sell options, I think about it as an income generating activity. And the purpose is to hit a certain ROI that I've set for myself. You have to do this stuff for yourself, right? The more aggressive you are, right, you're shooting for those 4 or 5% returns, there's more risk there, right? As opposed to if you're like more conservative, let's say, and you're like, hey, I want to only get like 1 or 2%, right? And and I really want to maximize if I have to actually sell my shares, right? So these are the risks that you need to take into account for yourself. Are you premium chasing for a high return on collateral, or do you also want to chase that appreciation sale as well? My kind of rule of thumb is this. Like, if I can hit a 2% return and it's a stock I genuinely am bullish on long-term and want to hold, I would go with the second option personally, right? Because I'm already hitting a great premium return of 2%. And if I end up selling the shares that I kind of really don't even want to sell, right? Everybody's got a price down. I'm like, you know what? If it actually does hit 60, man, I do think we're going to be due for a big pullback. So I'm totally cool locking in those gains and getting a nice, juicy total profit, right? So that's for me, right? That's what I would do, right? But if I'm like, you know what? I think Robinhood's already a little bit overvalued. I'm still bullish on it, but you know what? 55 is my number. If it's at 55, I'm totally cool. And then just going in, putting that money into a different opportunity. Guys, drop a comment right now down below. I'm going to send you my 5 favorite quad option strategy stocks that are all under $20 that fit into smaller portfolios. I'll personally respond back to you. Also, if you are somebody that wants to have a more hands-on approach with me personally, we have a 1-year incubator program where I show you how you can set up an option selling portfolio like this for yourself. If you want to learn more about that link will be down below in the description of today's video. Guys, remember, sell options, collect premiums, repeat. I'll see y'all tomorrow.